This feature, I absolutely love. This has been my trusty bike helmet for the last 3 to 4 years. I absolutely love it. This is the Heritage helmet from 1000. It's got tons of great innovative features. It looks really great, and it is the bike helmet that actually made me start wearing bike helmets, because before that, I wasn't really wearing one. No. This is the new and improved Heritage helmet. Is this going to be your new helmet? Should you upgrade if you have the 1.0? Let's find out. Biking helmets used to be pretty dorky looking, but in more recent years, some companies have actually made efforts to make biking helmets look a little bit nice, especially for people that are like me, that are more a casual commuter, or not trying to win Tour de France or something. And that is what the founder of the 1000 company, Gloria, set out to do: safety and style. I get stopped all the time and get asked where I got my bike helmet, because frankly, it's quite nice. And I've actually seen a lot more people in the last few years sport the 1000 helmet. A lot of companies have kind of emulated this shape and this equestrian looking kind of design, but it's distinct enough, especially in its colors, that you can spot it. I've spotted one today actually in the terracotta color. I know the helmet. I see one almost every time I bike at this point. It's quite popular. The reason this company is called 1000, it's actually a beautiful story, is the founder Gloria set out to save 1,000 lives with a helmet that people would actually wear, because her herself didn't want to wear helmets. They were kind of dorky, casual commuter, you don't really bike that much, you really need a helmet. Yes, the answer is yes, you do. Don't be hard-headed and actually protect your head, because this against concrete, there's a clear winner. It's not gonna be you. Gloria had a friend that ended up in a fatal bike accident, and headfirst impact. There was actually an article that I saw recently that was published in June of 2023 on bicycling.com that mentioned that they had just replaced 1,000 helmets. So they've reached that goal that they set out to do. Be safe out there. Also a pretty cool company. They seem to have a really diverse group of people working there. I mean, they're based in LA. So that's always something that I like to support. They're also 110% climate positive, reducing their waste wherever they can, reducing unnecessary plastic. That extends to their packaging, cardboard, and then offsetting all of their carbon emission, and then some, hence 110%. That's pretty cool. 1000 actually has a accident replacement guarantee. So if you get into an accident, you can get a replacement, no questions asked. I don't know if this is something that you could do continuously. Hopefully you're not getting into that many accidents. I've never had to make that claim, knock on wood, wherever wood is. However, I have, as a customer, without them knowing that I have a YouTube channel or anything, I had an issue with my first helmet, which I addressed in the reviews, where it would make this odd whistling noise due to, I think, just the way the vents are set up at the top and the way it scoops in the air, and the fact that I'm on a road bike. And I brought it up to them, and they just sent me a brand new helmet right away. So their customer service has been really good so far, and I've seen other people comment the same thing. So let's talk about the design. This is a commuter style, recreational cyclists, commuters, everyday riders, occasional riders, not like serious pro people. I mean, although if you really want to, you absolutely can. Almost 560 grams for the small, but it's not heavy at all on my head. It feels great. It has a low profile visor. It's enough to block from the summer sun, because it's high up anyway. And I didn't realize until I wasn't wearing my helmet, and it really does help enough. And also it does help against rain, should you get caught in the rain, which did happen to me once. And well, it kept the front of my face dry. There are currently 12 colorways, but they are known to constantly be adding different colors, and I think they're seasonal colors. This is the Phantom Black. It is a gloss. They have a lot of other ones that also come in a matte finish. I believe that this is also inspired by a vintage Shelby Mustang, and I think it just looks super slick. It also, non-coincidentally, matches my bike. Really nice. I also have the 1000 gloves that I absolutely love. I think they're gonna restock it. I've been through the ringer. I even brought them to Burning Man with me. So they've seen some things, these gloves. I love them. They've protected my hands from many falls. I will link all of this in the description down below. There are some notes about the paint. I decided to get the glossy version so far. Not really any like big scratches on there. Should be easier to buff out as well compared to the matte. My previous matte version honestly held up so well, and I would get scuffs, and then I would just kind of take my finger and rub on it, and the scuffs would sort of disappear. They said that they made their new 2.0 matte finish more durable and more environmentally friendly as well. If you do really care about the aesthetique of your bike helmet, you can always store it in this cute little bamboo pouch that does come with your helmet. Ta-da! Also, just a disclaimer, 1000 did reach out to me to send me a helmet, which I am very happy about because I wanted the new one and I needed to replace it anyway because there is a lifetime to these helmets, 3 years. There are 6 large ventilations here. And on top of that, they've actually redesigned things a little bit differently so that there are channels on the inside right here. So when you're biking, the wind will go right through here and scoop out all the air right through the back and just give you nice ventilation. I am not typically a super sweaty person, so I have not noticed this being an issue. I didn't have that many issues on the previous helmet. I do feel like it does ventilate more. Really, the only points that I ever do get sweaty are where it's actually touching the foam. Foam is, of course, removable. You could probably replace it. You could also remove it and wash it. In terms of safety, this is CPSC and ASTM standard. This is certified for skateboarding, for rollerblading, for biking in North America. I guess you can consider this safety. This patented pop lock, boop, so smart that they did this with a little logo and you can remove it. And then this allows you to lock your bike helmet to your bike, putting a U-lock or a cable through, so you don't have to haul your helmet around. This feature, I absolutely love. I just leave it locked onto my bike in the garage, so every time I'm about to go for a bike ride, I will never forget my bike helmet. And then when I go somewhere to grocery shop or I stop by at a restaurant, I don't need to haul my helmet inside with me. I leave it on the bike and it's there. On top of the crash accident, they have a anti-theft protection warranty. So should your helmet, probably also your bike, get stolen, when you have it locked onto your bike, you can get that replaced. I'm not sure how it works. I think you have to send them a photo and everything. If you have experience with this, do please chime in the comments down below. That will help everybody. And it's magnetic. Ah, love it. So simple and so effective. It's patented, so I don't know how another company could ever replicate this, but I feel like every single bike helmet has to have this. I have another bike helmet I use for my e-bike. I use this one for my road bike. It doesn't have this, and it bothers me. But also, it's a way more expensive bike helmet, so I don't know if I really want to actually leave it locked anywhere and leave it behind. There are also 3 sizes to fit various heads, ranging from a 54 centimeter to a 62 centimeter. There is also a junior version for smaller heads or children. The Junior, I believe, is only the Heritage 1.0. The 1.0 is already really great, by the way. Now let's talk about the tightening dial, the fit on this helmet. Let's put this on its back like this. Turtle shell style. They updated the fit so that it fits more universally in even more people's heads. They have a new adjustment dial here. People of Asian descent typically have a more round head, and people of European descent usually have a typically more oval head. Asian fit, if you will. Some helmet companies have started doing that. You may notice that also for like glasses, because we do have different anatomies. You don't have to be Asian to use Asian fit in a helmet. As it's a hard shell, it's definitely gonna be harder to get something a bit more malleable and have a good fit. They've actually solved this doing a few things. If you look here, you can see this tightening dial. It extends all the way to almost the front. It wraps 3/4, which means that when you're tightening the dial, which you do right here, with this great like hexagon dialing thing. It's rubbery and it's super easy to turn and adjust. Because this wraps around 3/4 of the way, when you tighten it, do you see here how this goes in? This is like a thin piece of plastic that's very sturdy. I don't see this breaking anytime soon. It now wraps around like this. So that means that if you typically have a helmet that fit fine front to back, but wobbled a little bit side to side, this will help quite a bit with this. And I have noticed that the fit just feels a little bit more sturdy on my head with this helmet, which I absolutely love, of course. Speaking with the rep at 1000, they were saying that there are recessed points for less pressure. I believe it's more this, the way that this is designed. If you look at the 1.0 helmet, this piece here just is a little bit differently designed, and I believe that's how the pressure points are actually relieved a little bit. And then the dial on the 1.0 is just this typical round dial, and it worked very well. This sleeker, smaller hexagon one works even better. Sounds better too. There are also different adjustabilities here, that these vertical points. You can actually pop this out and you can adjust different points over here so that you can have more comfort and have it wrap around your head in different ways. 3 different points. Right now it's at the middle point, and on my head it falls like this. My head actually kind of rounds right around here where it meets the neck. I could actually lower or higher it depending on how I want it to fit on my head in multiple ways, and this will depend on your personal preference and what you think is more comfortable. One thing that I did observe is that over here, for example, you'll see the straps are quite loose. There's no way to adjust this as it is fixed in here and sewn in a fixed point. I don't find this problematic. Maybe some people will. So if I were to make this higher, this vertical point in the back, that would reduce the looseness here on this back strap. But it also fits a lot higher in my head, which isn't very comfortable for where I need it to be. If I were to go at another point and make it go lower on my head, it now falls lower at the little nook of my head. This strap does become looser, but the strap is not really an issue. I don't find that this particularly gets in the way of anything. And you can see how you like that to fit. Right now, this might be a more comfortable fit for me, so I'm gonna try this out. But either one honestly feels pretty good for me. It really depends on the shape of your head. It'll vary from person to person. Test it out, try it out, see what works. But there is that adjustability. You may miss it if you don't pay attention. Don't even feel like the website really goes into detail with all this stuff, to be honest. This was through different research that I found and observing the helmet and seeing different comments that other people had and really analyzing the helmet itself. Maybe not everybody really likes this nerdy stuff like I do, but you know, if you're watching this, you probably do. So there are some of us that like this kind of stuff. They collected 8 years of feedback to design this new helmet. It's nice to see how they actually accomplished this, seeing the real design implications and how that translated into the product design. Something else that I really like that they had on their previous helmet, and I have seen other companies do as well, is this Fitlock one-handed fastener. It's never come undone on me before. It's branded as well, so I think it's still Fitlock. There's a little tab here too that you can just use as a reference to unhook it and hook it. I always do it without having to look, without messing around with it. I just one-handed take it off. It's also like bonus points. You can look pretty cool doing it, but it's also just convenient. You're not messing around with it. You want to remove your helmet, it's not a whole ordeal. You wouldn't think it's an ordeal until you go back to a regular helmet with the buckle and you realize you gotta like put enough pressure and you gotta put 2 hands and you gotta like find the thing. Little very basic elastic here for strap management. They still have this great vegan leather strap, except there's one that doesn't have it to keep the black on black look. It is a nylon black strap, so just be aware if you really like this type of contrasty look. Just look at the product pictures and make sure. They added some nylon strapping here as well as on the back, which doesn't take away from the look, but it gives it just so much more malleability. It's like a lot easier to get a good fit on your head. And also, where the helmet sits on your head, it's nice because these straps, they go all around to your ear. It doesn't cut into your ear. It really does a nice job at wrapping around. It feels comfortable. Additionally, for $25 extra, you can get a magnetic light add-on, which is really cool. I feel like this is way better to have on the helmet than on your bike, especially if you have a rear rack and you have a bag and there's other things covering it. This is definitely way more visible. It's super, super bright. 40 lumens peak brightness. There's a couple of modes on it. It's IP54 water and dust resistant. There's a solid light that's at 30 lumens and that lasts for 5 hours. Then there's a flashlight that's 40 lumens and lasts 5 hours. Then there's Eco Pulse, 10 lumens and lasts 12 hours. I have the bike helmet light from the Chapter helmet. They're not compatible, unfortunately. It doesn't stick on magnetically. This is just to give you an idea of what that looks like on here. There's a little indent here, and then it would magnetically go on. Warning you, this is gonna be quite bright. So that is just to give you an idea of what that would look like on the helmet. I assume that'll be somewhat similar, but unfortunately not compatible. Wish that they made it compatible so I could just use it. The Heritage add-on light will take 2 hours to charge, USB-C as well. So how much is it gonna set you back? This helmet is gonna cost you $99 US. The link is in the description down below. Please do consider using that link if you do decide to buy it, especially if this review helped you. Gives me a little kickback and it costs you nothing. Makes a huge difference to me. It's a nice way to say thank you, so I also thank you in advance. If you have the 1.0 and you're wondering, should I upgrade? I would say no, especially if you have a couple of years left in your helmet left. Don't need to waste your money. Use the helmet to its full life cycle. It's still a great helmet. I still do use it once in a while when I want to use the pop lock on my e-bike, because I don't want to drag the other helmet around when I'm out and about. Overall, the big changes on the 1.0 versus the 2.0 is the ventilation. You have all of this huge ventilation here instead of these 3 little ones and the ones in the back. And then if you look on the inside, right, the channels here are way deeper, more channels than here. So the air goes right through. On top of it with the design of the top open slits this way, the air just goes right through. It'll keep your head nice and dry, or less sweaty rather. The padding also, you can see it goes all around, wrapping to the front, and there's just more of it. So it distributes the weight just nicely around the head, a lot more than this one. The whole helmet just feels more robust. The pop lock is slightly better done. There's a rivet system right here with the strap, whereas the previous version, it was kind of just wedged in between the crevice of the outer layer and the inner layer. And maybe they changed that with other versions, but that was how mine was set up. Also, for some reason, my string was small. Oh my God, I just realized you could stretch a string. Well, it's a little too late now. The dial worked really well on both, but the dial just feels a bit more robust on this one. I really just love the hexagon and the smaller shape. And I wouldn't have any issues with this one. However, when you have 2 of them side by side and you play with them, you just end up preferring this one. It's so much smaller and sleeker, and it just works really well. You have more adjustability here, goes 3/4 of the way, versus here you can see it only goes half the way. So that means that when you're tightening this, you're gonna get a better fit. Also, the way that this strap is set up here, it's a little bit wider, whereas this is more just like a thinner strap. The straps here, a little bit less wide, and also feels a little bit thinner, which doesn't take away from the look, but makes it a little bit easier to wrap around your head. Then there's the nylon straps in the back. There's the way that this is held in the back versus here. It's just wedged once again between the outer layer and the foam layer. And this just makes, all of this just makes better fit, right? That you can see that there's a lot more play in all of this, a lot more adjustability. This means it gets less stuck too. You see how it's so much easier for this to move around versus this kind of, it kind of gets stuck sometimes. And then you also have this little nylon strap, which also just makes it a lot easier once you go to connect it and get that nice fit around your head, especially that bottom chin area. I don't have any more of the whistling issues that I had on the 1.0 so far. So very, very happy with this overall. I hope that this review helped you. Please do like this review. Let me know if you're planning on getting the Heritage 2.0. If you already have it, leave some comments down below as well. If you are curious to see what bike that I have on my e-bike, it is a helmet that lights up like a lot. You can check that review right here. If you like the 1000 aesthetic and you like the 1000 company and all that, and you want something a little bit more cycly, a little bit more lightweight, with more protection with MIPS, you can check that review out right here. You can also change the visors on the chapter helmet. Both these helmets actually that I have in my hands right here are MIPS safety standards, so additional safety standards to protect your head should a crash happen. So many helmets to choose from. Okay, well, I will let you check those out.